Mediated hostage for ceasefire talks in Doha this weekend yielded some progress, and talks are resuming in Cairo to work out remaining gaps on a U.S. bridging proposal. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is arriving in the region with hopes of concluding a deal by week's end. More from ILTV's Steve Leibowitz.
There was reported progress over the weekend as hostage for ceasefire talks were conducted in Doha between Israeli negotiators and mediators from the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar. The U.S. presented a new document endorsed by Egypt and Qatar, described as a bridging proposal that allows for potential quick implementation if the deal is finalized. Hamas did not attend the meeting, and it is not known how they will react to the new document. The mediators have already reconvened in Cairo with the goal to finalize a deal by the end of the week. The visit of Secretary of State Blinken is timed to drive home the deal, if possible. The Prime Minister's office said that Netanyahu was briefed by the negotiating teams, which expressed cautious optimism about advancing an agreement. The bridging proposal reportedly does not provide for an ongoing Israeli presence along the Israeli-Gaza border or on the central Netzarim corridor, as earlier called for by the Prime Minister. The IDF has said it will know how to manage any decision of the political echelon. President Biden was cautiously optimistic.
One of the reasons why I was late for you all was I was dealing with the ceasefire effort in the Middle East. And we are closer than we've ever been. I don't want to jinx anything, but as my grandfather said, with the grace of God, good little neighbors, a lot of luck, we may have something.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands took to the streets in protests organized by the hostages' families, calling for an agreement to bring the hostages home.
Until the hostages are home, negotiations mean nothing. We are hurting. We are sad.
And joining me now are Liran Berman, the brother of twin hostages Gali and Ziv Berman, and Itai Raviv, the great-nephew of hostage Avraham Munder. Thank you both so much for taking the time to speak to us. It's been 10 long months since Hamas captured your loved ones. Can each of you share how have you and your families been coping with the fear and the loss and this whole situation? Liran, you start, then Itai.
10 long months of uncertainty, of roller coasters of emotion, of ups and downs. We have no good days. We try to be as active as possible on all fronts, if the diplomatic front or the media front, the Hasbara front. We are doing whatever we can in our power to help facilitate a new deal and to help to release the 115 hostages. But it's been very difficult 10 months. No one ever thought it will last this long.
Absolutely. Nobody thought it would take this long. Itai, how about you?
Same feelings, pretty much. We've been doing everything we can, and we're very desperate, I have to say, and we're becoming more and more pessimistic to a deal that might be possible. We have not heard a single proof of life. Rom Avraham, my great uncle, we do not know his fate, and we're not sure how and if he's surviving 10 months in this hell.
Now, the hostage talks seem closer than ever, especially with this summit going on now. But I know you've heard all of this before. Are you even following the news? Do you believe that a deal will be signed? Itai, what are your thoughts?
I have to say, I've heard it so many times that I don't even listen to it now anymore. Until I see something actual and factual, I don't believe anything. The amount of summits and talks and delegations that came in, came out, it's endless, I think. And I've been saying it for a long time, a deal is possible today. And every time I hear they keep postponing it, I just heard now, yeah, maybe by the end of this week. I think everybody's aware of the price and of everything since a very long time ago. And we don't have any more time to spend. It's been 10 months. We can finish it really soon and save lives.
Thank you. Liran, what is your expectation of the Israeli government right now?
My expectation is for them to do everything they can regarding the hostages. Most of the problems around and in Israel will be solved on its own once the hostages will be back. The war in the north and the evacuees from the south and the north will be able to go back to their homes. Once the hostages will be back, we will withdraw from Gaza, from most of Gaza at least. Once the deal will be facilitated and the hostages will be back, most of the problems will be solved. And this is what I'm expecting from our government right now. There is nothing more important, nothing.
Itai, do you have a message for the negotiating team?
Same like Liran said, this is the expectation. They're still responsible, the government, the delegation team. They need to bring our loved ones back home, and this is what I expect of them.
Perhaps each of you can share one thought or one short memory about your loved ones who are held captive so we can keep them in our hearts and in our prayers. Please, Itai, you start, then Liran.
I think every family event together, and we feel that in every family event since 3 of our loved ones did come back from being hostage. And when they're back, Avram's not being there is felt, and we need him. The whole family needs to be reunited. Nothing is complete, even though some of the family members have returned. We need him too.
Liran, how about you? Can you share something about your brothers?
Yes. Last July, it's been 1 year since 1 year now. We've been on a trip, all of the family together with Gali and Ziv, in Cyprus, all of us. And it's like the last fun memories that we all have as a family together. It's been exactly 1 year this month. And this is what I want again now, to be a family again and to be together with them again, with Gali and Ziv.
Hopefully, God willing, you'll be together again very, very soon. Nothing, as you say, Itai, will be complete until this happens. Thank you both so much for sharing some of your stories with us today. I know this is an incredibly difficult time, and we really appreciate your courage. Our thoughts are with you.
Thank you.
And this afternoon, a terrorist has attacked a civilian security guard working at the industrial area in Samaria, who is reportedly in serious condition. The terrorist stole the individual's handgun, and the IDF is pursuing him. This is a developing story. 2 IDF reservists were killed in a roadside bomb over the weekend in central Gaza, even with signs of a potential ceasefire. Growing fighting intensified in Khan Yunis, and tunnel demolitions are ongoing around Rafah and the Philadelphia route. ILTV's Steve Leibowitz reports.
The 2 fallen soldiers were on a routine supply mission when their vehicle was struck by a roadside bomb in the Netzarim corridor in central Gaza. The fallen were identified as Sergeant Major Mordechai Ben Shoam from Geva Binyamin and Reserve Major Yotam Peled, age 34, from Rosh Ayin. The Hamas operatives who planted the bomb opened fire at the troops in the convoy before fleeing. Intense fighting was ongoing this weekend with IDF operations in Khan Yunis and Rafah. The IDF spokesman summed up the recent ops.
כחלק מההישגים המשמעותיים בשטח, בשבוע האחרון השמדנו כ-50 תוואים תת-קרקעיים במרחב ציר פילדלפי. אנחנו ממוקדים באיתור, ניטרול והשמדה של התשתיות התת-קרקעיות במרחב. לא כולן מנהרות פעילות, חלקן ישנות מאוד שטופלו כבר בעבר. ובכל זאת, אנחנו מנטרלים את כולן בנחישות.
Over the weekend, Hamas managed to fire a rocket toward Ra'im near the border. There were no injuries. A fighter jet struck the launcher used by Hamas. The Air Force targeted about 40 Hamas sites, including military buildings and arms storage facilities. Meanwhile, in Samaria, 2 senior Hamas terrorists were killed in an Israeli drone strike in the city of Jenin. The pair of senior Hamas operatives were involved in planning last week's shooting attack in the Jordan Valley, in which 23-year-old Yonatan Deutsch was killed and another civilian was wounded. The gunman remains at large.
The Air Force conducted long-range exercises to prepare for war in the north. As cross-border attacks between Israel and Hezbollah accelerated over the weekend, 10 Syrian workers were reportedly killed in an IDF strike on a weapons plant. More from ILTV's Steve Leibowitz.
10 Syrian workers were reported killed in an Israeli airstrike targeting a Hezbollah weapons factory in the small town of Toul in South Lebanon. The strike appeared to have destroyed the factory. Earlier, the IDF targeted and killed a commander of Hezbollah's elite Radwan force in a drone strike in South Lebanon. Hussein Kassab was struck while riding a motorcycle near the coastal city of Tyre. In response, Hezbollah fired a barrage of 55 rockets at northern Israel, reaching as far as Tzfat. 2 soldiers were wounded by an explosive drone strike. Numerous fires erupted, and firefighters battled to control the blazes. Meanwhile, the saber-rattling toward full-scale war between Israel and Hezbollah is continuing. The Air Force has completed drills for long-range strikes while Hezbollah touts advanced missiles. Israeli jets practiced mid-air refueling to prepare for long-range sorties in what was seen as a stark warning to Iran and Hezbollah. The drill was carried out over Israeli airspace and involved one of the Air Force's Boeing 707 refueling planes and several F-35Is and F-15 fighter jets. In Lebanon, Iran's proxy Hezbollah published a video showing an underground missile facility it called Imad-4, with the group's leader Hassan Nasrallah boasting about the terror group's armed capabilities. The region has been braced for a major escalation in violence for nearly 3 weeks since Israel killed Hezbollah's military chief Fuad Shukr in Beirut and was blamed for the assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, drawing promises of retaliation from both Iran and its Lebanese proxy.
Israel is reportedly expecting support from the UK and from France in the event of an Iranian attack. During high-level talks with his British and French counterparts, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz conveyed that Israel would seek active assistance from these European allies should Iran strike. Katz's statement highlights the deepening ties between Israel and key European powers, emphasizing the strategic importance of collective security against potential threats from Tehran. The Israeli government believes that a coordinated response from the UK, France, and other allies would be crucial if Iran were to escalate its actions, particularly through military aggression and via an expected retaliatory strike against Israel. Additionally, Israel has long viewed Iran's nuclear ambitions as an existential threat, and the possibility of Iran achieving nuclear capabilities is a red line for the Israeli government. The involvement of European powers in these discussions signals Israel's intent to broaden its defensive network beyond the alliances with the United States. As Israel continues to navigate multiple simultaneous challenges, its leaders are focused on ensuring that they're not standing alone if tensions with Iran boil over into open conflict. And on this topic of the Iranian threat to Israel, I want to say hello to Dr. Eyal Pinko of the Begin Sadat Center for Strategic Studies at Bar-Ilan University. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
So Iran, despite expectations, has refrained thus far from attacking Israel over the past few weeks. What do you believe is the reasoning behind this restraint?
First, I don't know which expectation, except of the media expectation for attacking Israel. But, first we need to see about the Iranian culture. The Iranian culture is not saying that the action should be, or their reaction should be immediate. See when the U.S. assassinated with the head of the IRGC Quds Force, Qasem Soleimani, Iran was reacting 8 months after that. So first they have the different time frame. Secondly, this is a very critical time for Iran because now is the time for the election in the U.S. Iran will do everything that she can do in order that Kamala Harris will be chosen and not Trump. Trump is not good for Iran. So Iran understands as a strategic player that if Trump will come into power, Iran will suffer from sanctions and economical damages from the Trump administration. So it's better not now to flame the area. in order that Kamala Harris will win the election. And this is the reason that Iran is still not doing anything regarding its some kind of revenge of the assassination.
Now, Iran has a range of options to attack Israel beyond the missile attacks that we last saw in April. What other forms of threats and aggression might we expect from Iran?
Okay, so first we see what is happening now. This psychological warfare that Iran is playing with Israel in the last 2 weeks or something like that, in which Israel is losing the patience. You see what is happening to the civilians. The economical damage, aircraft companies are not bringing aircraft to Israel. There are no flights. So the economical damages and the psychological warfare that it's already here and now, Israel is being damaged from that. This is one. Secondly, the two other ways that it can be is to assassinate ambassadors or to hit Jewish or Israeli facilities all over the globe. This is one, as they did after the Qasem Soleimani assassination by the U.S. And secondly, another choice, it can be by severe cyber attacks against the Israeli national infrastructure. So that's another possibility or another scenario.
So let's talk about these cyber attacks. Cyber attacks on Israel's national infrastructure have the potential for very significant damage. In your opinion, is Israel adequately prepared to defend against non-conventional attacks such as cyber warfare?
We need to see that Iran is attacking Israel for many years in the cyber domain. Iran hit in the past already one of the water systems, the electricity grid. So there are already cyber attacks that were successful from the Iranian side. We need to remember that as much as security or cyber security that Israel has, there is no 100% security. There always possibility that something will happen. So Israel is really enforcing its cyber capabilities, cyber security capabilities, building layers of defense, but it can always be penetrated.
Now, you mentioned the possible assassination attempts on Israelis or delegations abroad. How could Israel prepare for an attack on Israelis or Jews abroad, which would not be on its soil?
Yeah, so Israel is enforcing security with the embassies and with the ambassadors that Israel has. And this is from the formal point of view, but from the other, for Israeli citizens that are going abroad or for Jewish places like synagogues, Israel cannot do much. Everyone should be careful with his own at the end of the day.
Dr. Eyal Pinko, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
In a tragic and heartbreaking revelation, new footage has emerged showing the abduction of 86-year-old Aryeh Zelmanovich from Kibbutz Nir Oz during the October 7th Hamas attack. The video captures the elderly farmer being forcibly taken from his home, seated on the back of a motorcycle, flanked by his captors. As they moved through the streets, a violent crowd assaulted Zelmanovich, leaving him visibly wounded and bloodied. Aryeh Zelmanovich was a Holocaust survivor and a respected farmer. He was abducted without his glasses or hearing aid, making an already horrific situation even more unbearable. His health rapidly deteriorated while in captivity in Gaza due to the deprivation of essential medications and care. Reports from hostages who were later released described his struggle to survive on minimal food, furthering his suffering. Tragically, Zelmanovich's ordeal ended in December when his death in captivity was confirmed. Kibbutz Nir Oz released a powerful statement alongside the footage, highlighting the immense suffering endured by the hostages and calling for urgent action as crucial negotiations continue at this very moment. His family hopes that sharing this footage will raise awareness about the brutal conditions faced by those still held captive over 10 months later. Federal police in Argentina have dismantled a terrorist cell planning attacks against the Jewish community. 7 suspects were arrested and multiple raids led to the seizure of weapons and electronic devices. ILTV's editor-in-chief Maayan Hoffman has more.
A terrorist cell targeting Argentina's Jewish community was dismantled by federal police, according to the National Security Ministry. 7 members of the group were arrested, and police conducted 8 raids, seizing firearms, knives, and electronic devices. This marks the second such incident this year. In January, Argentine police arrested 3 people with Syrian and Lebanese citizenship, also suspected of plotting a terrorist attack. Libertarian President Javier Milei, a strong supporter of both the Jewish community and Israel, recently pledged to strengthen the national intelligence system to prevent future attacks. In July, Argentina designated Hamas as a terrorist organization and froze the group's financial assets. Argentina has the largest Jewish population in Latin America, but has also been the site of the deadliest attacks against a Jewish community in South American history. In 1994, an attack on the Buenos Aires Jewish Community Center killed 85 people and wounded hundreds more. 2 years earlier, in 1992, an attack on the Israeli embassy killed 22 people. Argentina's judiciary has accused members of Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah group of carrying out both attacks.
Former President Donald Trump has launched a scathing attack on the Biden-Harris administration, accusing them of fostering chaos, bigotry, and violence against the Jewish people. He also said the party is failing to protect Israel and warned of worsening conditions under Kamala Harris. ILTV's Mayan Hoffman has more.
Former President Donald Trump has criticized the Biden-Harris administration, holding them responsible for what he calls the chaos, bigotry, and violence faced by Jewish people today. He also repeated his belief that any Jewish person who votes for Vice President Kamala Harris or a Democrat needs to have their head examined. Over the weekend in Pennsylvania, Trump drew a controversial comparison between the current situation for Jews in America and life in Germany in the 1940s.
There has never been a more dangerous time since the Holocaust. If you happen to be Jewish in America, there's never been anything like it. I'm seeing things I can't even believe it.
The Republican presidential candidate also claimed that Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro wasn't chosen as Harris's running mate in the upcoming election because he is Jewish.
We can be politically correct and not say that. I could say, well, they turned him down for various reasons. No. They turned him down because he's Jewish. That's why they turned him down.
The statement followed a speech Trump gave on Thursday in New Jersey to a group of Jewish donors, where he told supporters that the toxic poison of anti-Semitism is now coursing through the veins of the Democratic Party, and named Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer a Palestinian. Trump also accused the party of failing to protect Israel, warning that things would worsen under Harris. The Democratic National Convention, where Harris is expected to be formally nominated as the 2024 candidate, opens tomorrow in Chicago. Anti-Israel protests are planned, and the Israel-Hamas war is expected to be a key topic of discussion at the convention.
Let's now take a look at the weather forecast. Mostly clear skies are expected tonight around the country, as temperatures should reach lows of around 22 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Then tomorrow, sunny skies and hot weather are expected, as temperatures should reach highs of 36 degrees Celsius or 97 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a wrap for today's news. For the latest updates from Israel on all your devices, be sure to follow our ILTV channels, subscribe to our newsletter, and explore our website, iltv.tv. Stay informed with the latest news straight from the heart of Israel. I'm Sivan Raviv. Be well, be safe, and thank you so much for watching.